It started as a whisper on social media, a subtle rumble that no one quite expected to explode, and then, almost overnight, it became a full-blown controversy. Britney Spears, the pop icon whose life has been a relentless spotlight of triumph, tragedy, and scrutiny, is publicly lashing out at her ex-husband, Kevin Federline, accusing him of using his new memoir to spin a web of white lies. She calls it a betrayal that is deeply hurtful, profoundly personal, and above all, exhausting. What was once a private family tension has now become a very public reckoning over truth, money, family, and exploitation, and the entire world is watching as the battle unfolds. Federline's upcoming memoir, You Thought You Knew, is set to hit shelves this month, and even the early excerpts have sent shockwaves through Britney's camp. In the book, he makes a series of claims that strike at the very heart of Britney's public persona. Among the allegations, he recounts a chilling story in which Britney supposedly stood silently at the doorway of their teenage son's room, watching them sleep, while holding a knife. He also claims that she used cocaine while breastfeeding, questions her emotional stability, and paints a stark portrait of her behavior throughout their marriage. He even raises doubts about how she has conducted her life since her conservatorship ended, suggesting that her actions were unstable and erratic. Behind these words, he insists, lies concern for her well-being and a desire to bridge the divide with their children. Britney, however, is having none of it. She took to social media to air her grievances in a message that was equal parts fury and heartbreak. On X, she wrote, "The constant gaslighting from my ex-husband is extremely hurtful and exhausting." She explained that she has begged, pleaded, and screamed just to have a life with her sons. But the reality, she says, is heartbreaking. The relationship with her teenage sons is complex, painfully constrained, and fraught with missed moments. One son saw her for only 45 minutes over 5 years, and the other had just 4 visits. For Britney, that isn't a distance. It's a chasm that has hollowed out the connection she so desperately wanted to maintain. Spears doesn't mince words about the nature of Federline's portrayal. She calls the accounts in the memoir not just careless exaggerations, but deliberate white lies, going straight to the bank. She accuses him of exploiting her name at a moment when she is striving to retreat into a more private and peaceful life. Britney also highlights the timing of this publication. The memoir arrives after her child support obligations have ended, and she doesn't hide her suspicion that the story is, at least in part, a calculated financial play. Her frustration isn't limited to the words in print. She also accuses Federline of, quote, literally attacking her in interviews surrounding the book's release, letting his anger spill into the public sphere in ways she describes as terrifying. "Why is he so angry?" she asked in a candid post. "People have no idea. It is way worse than anyone could imagine. The boy hates me, and it is deep anger." To literally say the things he is saying, Spears suggests that love and generosity are fundamentally incompatible with humiliation, and that she never agreed to play the role of villain in his narrative. Perhaps the most jarring claim in Federline's memoir, the infamous knife story, cuts deepest of all. He recounts walking past their son's room to find Britney standing silently there, watching them sleep, a knife in hand. Britney describes this as more than just a mischaracterization. She calls it sensationalized, designed to shock and to sell copies. In her eyes, these are not authentic cries for help, but strategic provocations meant to maximize drama and profit. She frames it as a betrayal. Someone who once shared her life and her children is now exploiting intimate, traumatic moments for personal gain. This dispute is deeply intertwined with Britney's relationship with their 2 sons, Preston and Jayden James. She openly mourns the distance that has developed over the years, writing, "I have always pleaded and screamed to have a life with my boys." The lack of connection, she alleges, isn't just an emotional wound. It forms the backbone of her argument that Federline has been capitalizing on a fractured family dynamic. Spears emphasizes that she will always love her sons, but also insists that public perception doesn't reflect the truth of her life. Her intelligence, her capability, and her desire for peace have long been obscured by tabloids, by court battles, and by public misrepresentation. She is seeking a sacred, quiet life, a life free from the manipulation and scrutiny that have defined much of her adult years. Federline, on the other hand, frames the story differently. In interviews, he insists that his memoir is born of concern, not revenge, portraying it as a way to provide clarity and context for their sons. He argues that it is an urgent message, intended to help Preston and Jayden James make sense of their past with both parents. While Spears sees exploitation, Federline presents his narrative as a bridge, a means to foster healing. He insists that the memoir is not primarily about money, though critics have suggested otherwise, noting the potential commercial incentives. Spears perceives the publication as a final opportunity for him to profit from her life and her pain after years of financial dependence and public scrutiny. The story, deeply personal as it is, has become a public spectacle. It transcends tabloid gossip, entering the realm of fundamental questions. Who owns the story of someone's life? When intimate allegations are monetized and placed into the marketplace, The victim experiences a second betrayal, not from the initial incident, but from someone they once trusted most. Britney argues that she is not merely defending her reputation. She is fighting to protect her memory, her motherhood, and her integrity in a world that has long scrutinized and misrepresented her. Her response is a reclamation of voice. Spears has said enough, and now she is demanding that the world hear more than just Federline's version. She insists that this is not about revenge. It is about boundaries, respect, and the pursuit of truth. She refuses to be humiliated simply to sell books or to satisfy public curiosity. She is standing up for herself and asserting that her life is hers alone to narrate. Central to the conflict is the relationship with their children. Britney emphasizes that she is not shutting her sons out. Rather, she is drawing a line. She is done pleading, done chasing them. Moving forward, she intends to let them take initiative if they wish to engage with her. She wants them to understand her side of the story and see her not as a caricature in the tabloids, but as a mother who has always loved them, fiercely and unconditionally, even through the chaos of her life. There is a deeper, more complicated legacy at play here. Britney's own memoir, The Woman in Me, published in 2023, provided a window into her pain, her trauma, and her fight for autonomy after years under a conservatorship. Now, Federline's memoir collides with that narrative, creating a clash over who controls the story, who shapes the memory, and who, honestly, dictates public perception. Some observers call it cathartic, a way for Federline to process his own experiences. Others, though, see it as exploitation, a calculated attempt to monetize private family moments at the expense of Britney's reputation. The pressing question is no longer just about truth, it's about ownership. Who really has the right to tell certain stories, and whose voice will dominate in the court of public opinion? Can Britney's voice withstand yet another wave of scrutiny? Or will her past be rewritten and repackaged for profit by someone she once called her partner and the father of her children? The battle is as much about narrative control as it is about familial relationships. As this battle plays out, the stakes remain high. The memoir will be released. Public opinion will be shaped. Media outlets will dissect each line, each allegation, and each rebuttal. Yet Spears' central message remains clear. She is not silent, she will not be erased, and she will not allow her children's narrative or her own to be twisted without response. If you want to stay up to date on this unfolding story, the memoir, the public rebuttals, and the ongoing personal and legal drama, hit subscribe, drop a like if you believe Britney deserves to defend her narrative and her voice. Share this widely so more people can understand what is truly at stake, and comment below. Who do you believe? Can memory be trusted when the stakes involve not only fame and fortune, but family, trauma, and legacy? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a celebrity feud. This is a battle for control over the past, a struggle for narrative power, and a fight to ensure that those who lived through the experiences, not those who capitalize on them, are the ones whose voices are heard. Britney Spears is standing firm, and the world is watching.